So, ladies and gentlemen, we're right on time and it is going to be our next conversation. Now, after designing spaces for success, we're now moving to innovations in technology and workspace management. Yet another great area to cover, the concept being around discovering the latest innovations in technology and the workspace management for flexible workspaces that help boost efficiency, security, and collaboration. Well, to add great content on this, we're honored that we have the Group Editorial Director of BW Businessworld, Noor Fatima Warsia, who's going to be our session chair. Let's give our lady a warm round of applause. Thank you, Ms. Warsia, for joining us. On that note, it is now time for me to call upon our esteemed panelists. CEO, MyHQ by Anarok, Utkarsh Kawatra. Utkarsh, thank you so much. Director Channels and BDM 75F, Sayyid Hidayat Ali. Co-founder, My Branch, Kushal Bhargava. Founder and CEO, Go Floaters, Shyam Sundar. And the Chief Business Officer, Stylework, Mukul Ronak Das. Well, Noor, over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the kind introduction and, of course, for introducing my lovely panelists. Thank you to the audience. It's very difficult to kind of pull off anything after lunch, but we always appreciate those who manage to somehow still sustain. We have a very interesting topic, which is how do we look at innovations in technology and workspace management in today's times. And my panelists here have the mandate to look at different aspects of it to make it easier for people who are now able to do more because of the presence of workspace and co-working spaces and solutions which owners themselves don't need to worry about and just delegate the headache, as they say. So before we get into that, just my question to all of you, we have been writing a lot about companies asking their people come back to office. And once upon a time, the definition of hybrid and flexible, that's kind of changing right now. I just want to get a sense from you, how does it impact your businesses? And I would have done ladies first, but I think I'll just go with the, the beige man first. So Kushal, you want to go for it? Just give us a sense on how are you seeing this whole definition or how what we understood as flexible a couple of years ago changing now that people really want to or expect their staff to be in office?
Good afternoon, everyone, firstly. Yeah, I think it's got real now that everybody wants to be back in office and even the employers are looking at their people coming back to office. So the biggest shift typically, I would say typically also from a co-working space, it started, I would say, around close to 2015-16, and now post-COVID, people are talking about flex space actually. So what the major shift which has happened is, earlier people were looking for an office space, and now people are looking for flexible office space. So the flexible office space doesn't only talk about space as a product, they're looking at flexibility again in terms of time, in terms of projects, in terms of in-person meeting. So a lot has changed post-COVID. In fact, I would say the new norm. In fact, a lot of people are not even talking about COVID because there's been a huge upskill in terms of space absorption across India.
Right.
So yeah, so in other words, I would say typically is that people, yes, do want to get back to office, and it has impacted, I would say, from a revenue perspective also for all of us sitting here, and also to know that actually, in the earlier presentations also it was mentioned that flex space contributes roughly 18% of the real estate that has been sold. So this number is only going to go upwards, and yeah, people are really looking at being in office and looking at collaborating and working together.
Being a business journalist, I appreciated his smile when he said revenue. I especially appreciated that. All of you have had the same experience, or do you see any kind of a challenge in the way you're looking at it? Yeah, go for it, Shyam. And then Utkarsh, next you.
So you talked about a definition changing. Multiple definitions have changed in the last couple of years, right? So remote was, work from home and remote was the same for a large part, but that's changing, right? Remote is not work from home any longer, right?
Yes.
So you could be at a city of your choice in your hometown and get into a co-working space near and work. Mm-hmm. And so remote is all about not being at the HQ all the time, every day, right? Other thing that has changed is like the definition of office. Corollary is that office used to be one latitude, longitude, that you'll Google and you'll find one place on the map, but it's no longer that one place on the map, right? It's a physical environment where you could get things done, right? It's a plug and play place where two things can happen, flexibility and connections, right? So you can connect with your colleagues, right? Collaborate, and you have the flexibility to be there when you want, where you want, for the time that you want. This is, according to me, a lot of the definitions that have changed in the last 2-3 years about it, right? And with that, and I, with my startup GoFloaters, we specifically work with distributed and remote teams, right? So when you have employees spread across 40 different cities in India, right? And employees do want to come back to the office, but is it the same HQ that they had to lock, stock, barrel relocate to a Bangalore or relocate to a Mumbai just to have the job? Many employees are deciding that's not the way they want to live their life. So it's a question about how employees want to live their lifestyle versus how do they want to balance work with it. Previously, it was the other way around. Life had to be balanced with work, but now work has to be balanced with life. And that's the change that I see in terms of how co-working spaces and how the usage of office space is going to kind of change, or is changing already and is going to change in the future.
Excellent. Basically a trend that started post-pandemic and has continued. And since you're also smiling, so clearly it's continued enough in a good way.
Revenues have improved, yeah.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. Utkarsh, go for it.
Yeah, I think, hello. Yeah, I think one trend that I would say on the positive side has been that earlier, let's say pre-COVID, people would think co-working for startups, for freelancers, everything. But now, post-COVID, you're seeing corporates take up flexible workspaces. They had to give their leases out. They are now more open to this idea, and that percentage has drastically increased. If I talk of a general co-working space, like a 200-seater, if earlier 80% of its clients would have been startups, now that's 30%. So they've gotten bigger and bigger corporates who've started using it. And that trend, I don't think, is changing. That was brought in by COVID, and that's actually helped them make more margins, corporates pay more, better clients, and essentially help the market grow immensely. That's one thing that's going to stick on. That's one positive. The second, I'd say, obviously, see, what happened was pre-COVID, everyone was at office. During COVID, everyone was at home. Now, everyone is trying to figure out where they want to be. Are they calling everyone at that same HQ? Are they building smaller offices in different cities? Are they telling all their people to be remote? But what has happened, it's just not the same as the entire office. In that same HO. So there is a shift which is helping the market again here, where you have some sort of hybrid working out. You could say that it's complete remote, you could say it's a lot of satellite offices, but that's a positive trend again for this industry and maybe a bit negative for the commercial real estate market. So these are two trends which I think are going to stick on and are helpful for our industry, and that's why everyone is kind of smiling.
Excellent. You know, that's also more from the real estate or more from the tangible part of it. Impact obviously is there on the solutions part of it. Now, you know, Mukul, I'd probably want you to jump in over here. Anything that stands out, Mukul, on what clients are asking changing in the last some time?
Hello, check. Yeah. So I would like to give a small different perspective, right? So we all understand about flexibility in workspaces. So flexible spaces, which was very synonymous to remote working.
Yes.
Right? And probably you can work as per your flexible schedule. That was what Flexi was. Just a food for thought. Think about it. That imagine flexibility is actually a state of mind and a physical state as well. You might want to be working remotely, and that you call as flexibility, that, okay, you know what, I can give time to my professional as well as my personal life, so that is flexibility for me. The employer might feel that, okay, what is flexibility is that, you know, I do not need to get into commitments of long-term lock-ins, and, you know, I can decide and change my decisions as per my needs and requirements, which are ever changing. That could also be flexible. Also, a flexibility could be that, you know, I work out of my home continuously, but I am able to, you know, balance between my personal life as well as my, you know, professional life. For me, I would just want that food of thought for all of you to think that in India, what flex after this pandemic and all these, what is changing right now is probably, and what needs to change actually is, we are not doing anything much about work-life balance really, okay? I think we Indians take work too seriously, right? And we end up working 18 hours a week, 18 hours a day, 20 hours a day. it is probably the productivity which is, very important. In Western countries, they probably work in limited hours, but they give their entire productivity at 80% productivity or 90% productivity, right? We'll come to that as we go on this panel discussion, but crux of the matter is that after the Flexi coming in and people and the companies asking for their employees to come back, return to office, right? I feel that this is a new perspective that we should change and start thinking about, which is the work-life balance bit, and how can technology and innovation help embed this work-life balance in each of our workforce in the entire country. It's a huge country, so any change will take a lot of effort, but I think we will get there. I think if we strategically think how to do it.
All right, excellent. The work-life balance, obviously, it's an ongoing, and I don't think there's any end to that conversation at any point. But from a solution standpoint, once again, I don't know how much technology will even help with that, because it's clearly mindset, right? Technology is not changing mindset yet, unfortunately. But Ali, do you want to just give us a sense, you kind of come to the level where the client actually gets into, this is what I want in this specific space right now. It's very, very focused. So what are some of the changes that you're seeing and what people are asking out there?
Yeah. Good afternoon all. Thank you, Noor. I take cue from Utkarsh and Mukul. Humans are a different species. Once you give humans something, you cannot take it back. We all agree with it. You give the goodies, you cannot take it back. So what's happened right now is, pre-COVID, everybody used to work from office. There's a culture, come, go, biometric, attendance system, payroll, everything. The last 2 years have changed the entire psychosis of the humans working from IT parks and other places. What's happened here is technology has to take the lead over here. Unfortunately, in our country, technology takes a backseat to a certain extent because vitamin A money comes into picture. And here we cannot work in silos after COVID. The right fact over here is only technology part is that from the architects, from the place, from the time when the flexi spaces get worked out and they start imbibing and the incubation stage happens, technology, along with the architects, with the MEP, the structural, the engineers, because I am a techie guy, so I am not going into the Flexi's part and how the revenue is that, but you cannot take that back. Now, we all work from home for 2.5, 3 years. Some companies are still working from home. The amount of comfort what they had and the perks what they got, and now they're asking 10 questions before they come to office. Hygiene. How can hygiene be? How will I be safe? I have a family to take care of. I'm going to take such a big insurance. Is something going to happen to me? How my family? Are you going to give me the confidence? I'm going to come, or otherwise I'm going to jump. So the iteration was too high. After the COVID and within the COVID, the iteration was too high. All parameters have to be taken into consideration. And for this, the occupant experience counts a lot. When the occupant comes to an IT park or to a flexi space, from the time he enters, where he parks his vehicle, he takes the lift, or the smart toilet hygiene, everywhere there's an addition of automation comes over there. Now we are all living with high gadgets, apps and applications, and without internet there is no life. We feel like we have just snuffed out. So unless we don't work in tandem with all the respective stakeholders, be it the real estate guys, the architects, the structural engineers, the PMCs, the JLLs, the real estate guys, we'll not be able to deliver. And the demand will keep on growing. So on a technology front, it is innovation, innovation, and acceptance and adaptability. And along with that, we have to think about energy saving, because energy is not coming free. We are all paying through the nose. So we have to have the right balance. So that is my per se. And the major part over here is occupant experience comes into picture.
No, that's interesting actually, to be able to get that. It's very real problems that people are actually asking for. Let's figure out, how are you people making all this money? Let's figure out how are you onboarding the client. We'll come to Utkarsh again. He's wearing his logo today.
Yeah. I don't know why everyone wears suits here, but
It's the reverse question. Don't you remember Gandhiji?
but yeah. So see, we are a marketplace. For us, it's important to work with our partners to kind of figure out how do we onboard the clients in a more seamless and a more secure manner for them. Earlier, it used to be just like we bring a client out of the door for them and they do all the KYC and everything. But what we've done is we try to bring some efficiency. So our whole thesis as a marketplace has been to use technology to reduce that time. Let's say if it would take a 15-day period to close a contract, can we reduce that to 7 days? And how we're doing that is So now there are various tools. There's a tool for, let's say, doing your KYC automated. So we can do the KYC of the customer within like 5 minutes on the tool itself. And that's there on our product altogether. What happens there is, if any client wants a virtual office or any seat, he just purchases on the website directly and can do the KYC within 5 minutes. That's part one. The second part is then there is contracts, right? When you have to get the client onboarded, there's a very standard contract which these co-working operators use. You don't really need a lot of innovation there. Having that standard contract there in place, using different signing tools to kind of get them onboarded and sign it off. So essentially the client, rather than doing all the pen paper work, giving his documents, doing the photocopy, etc., his onboarding on that flex space is done within a period of 10 minutes. Wow. So that's part one. Then post that, there is essentially at space what all is done in technology, which I would rather let the other panelist cover, because he runs the space.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Kushal, I think he kind of wants you to take it. आपकी smile की वजह से revenue पे इतना focus है. I hope you know that.
So just to tell you, technology has really enhanced the whole experience. So when co-working started first, it was typically, the mobile phone. So everybody thought that the onboarding, the meeting room booking, everything needs to happen on the phone. Post that, technology has evolved. And then, things came like smart offices, where you can find out where people are really not sitting, how the electricity can be optimized, how the temperature can be controlled, how the upkeep of the office can be maintained. Then because of COVID, it evolved into touchless technology, where people want an onboarding without, so even including me, whoever I've met. So I also have a digital visiting card, so it's no more physical anymore. You just see on how you can use digital. You have RFIDs, which is tracking your in and out of the office. You can track your assets. So there's been an enhancement of smart offices, touchless offices. And now what actually people are looking from a flex space is data analytics. So they are looking at how the operator now can come back and tell the client or the customer that actually I've taken a meeting room from you, or I've taken a conference room, and am I really using it? You're giving me ancillary services, in terms of maybe play area, maybe in terms of providing an accountant, providing an HR service. Are we really using that? Because everybody actually wants to pay for what they're using only. So technology-wise now people are looking for an operator to come back and how to enhance their experience so it can also be replaced with something more. So we talked about the carbon footprints being, things like that. So that's why it's very important that we also use technology, and a lot of our customers now are really asking us that Kushal or my branch, can you all tell us that how can we expand more effectively and efficiency? So that's the current technology that is going on.
I'll give you an example of a technology which I saw at a co-working space. They even have it, so to increase revenue and obviously make it work. There are co-working spaces which offer tea coffee for free, but there's one which actually has this QR code based system where some companies have it for free and some companies' employees are actually paying $5 on that coffee machine. They scan their pay UPI and then they get the coffee. So even at that level, there is some level of technology which people have tried to incorporate to increase the revenue or increase efficiency, either ways.
Yeah, not bad. Smart minds, lots of smart minds, they know how to make their money. Just to kind of stay on these clients for a bit, Utkarsh, you made this point a little while ago that now more corporates are also looking at workspace solutions, and especially this co-working kind of a setup, which means that even the expectation from your end, whether it is the solution provider, service provider, or the space provider, even the solution from your end needs to kind of evolve with it. Like the startup would still be okay with something, but the moment you have gone to corporate where they have been used to a certain way of working in brick and mortar, and the guys running around for whatever needs, you have to kind of upgrade yourself and be there to fit that bill. So I want to understand that from both the physical aspect also and solutions aspect also. Mukul, why don't I throw this back at you, and then, I will get you into it, Shyam, after that. Just give us a sense, yeah. Fine? Who did this to him? He even wore his jacket today, guys. Yeah, I think, go for it, let's see.
Yeah. So I think we are solving two primary problems, right? One is getting a real-time solution, And the second is the reach of the solution, basically, right? The real-time solution is that I need something, I would want, I'm hungry right now, I'm looking for a space right now, and I get to know exactly what options are available for me in the quickest way possible. That is one. Second is, what all options, the array of options that are thrown at me is something that I really want. And how do we do is, in terms of using technology, is very important, right? And to be in the race and to be in the game, we need to just ensure that we are evolving using technology. And there are so many things which are coming in today, right? Like with all the artificial intelligence coming in, prompt engineering coming in, and how do we really use and make the most of these technologies to be able to up our game and solve problems. But before that, understanding what problems exist is very important, right? What do consumers ask for? What do consumers demand? And otherwise, you're ending up using technology, and technology is not cheap. We spend a lot of money, and eventually we do not really understand the product market fit, and we solve a problem in terms of using technology, and we launch it in the market, and then we realize कि इसका तो demand ही नहीं था. मतलब it's a waste of money, time, and effort, right? And technology is quickly changing as well. Yeah. Like just 6 months back, there was no chat GPT known to us, right? In today's scenario, I think most of the businesses, right, are trying to figure ways out how to, build on chat GPT or AI models to improve the productivity and efficiency which I was talking about. Right? So that's probably what we need to be continuously improving. Otherwise, just like companies like Nokia, BlackBerry, or MySpace, or Orkut, right? They were very advanced for their own generation, but the companies which actually did adapt quickly to changes and address the real problems quickly, they were smart enough, I think. So adapting to change and keeping on innovating in real time is very important, and understanding and keeping a tap of people's problems and your solving. I think that should be the core of it in any tech company.
All right, fair enough, understood. You want to add to it, Shyam?
Yeah, I'll probably talk about, you talked about how our solutions have evolved over time, right? I'll just talk about how we have evolved over time, right? So to begin with, we were just a booking platform. You can book a desk, you can book a meeting room, that's what it was, right? And then after companies started to implement different forms of remote and hybrid, first it was about understanding utilization, right? Hey, I'm giving this to my employees, are they utilizing it? To what Kushal was saying, right? They have taken X number of seats. Is that being even utilized, right? And because coming out of the pandemic, nobody could guess, would 10% of their workforce be back to office, or would it be 50, would it be 80? Nobody knew, right? So you needed data at your side, you needed that to kind of drive your decisions forward. And still today, nobody knows, right? Nobody knows. A lot of the CRE heads and CXOs will be actually worried to see if, even crossing their fingers, walking to the office to see if they'll find an empty office or they'll have employees there, right? That's the situation, right? So we evolved from a booking platform to something where you can also have a dashboard where you can look at utilization, right? I mean, are people coming in, right? And where are they coming in? Is it Bangalore? Is it Chennai? Which offices are they coming in, right? Now we've gone to a point where now it's about understanding the usage behavior, right? Is it Mondays are people coming to the office, right? Is sales team coming to the office more often than the marketing team, right? Is my sales team in NCR behaving differently than my sales team in Bangalore, right? Is there, and because of the behavioral change, do I see a productivity difference? Do I see any outcomes being different, right? More at the office, does it mean more sales, right? So I don't know that. So now it's more about the penny being spent, right? They want to kind of get into the brass tacks of, is it actually giving business outcomes for me, right? So that to that level, right? And now we've gone to the level where employers want to invest on technology. For example, I mean, companies that are flexible about coming to the office, right? They're not mandating 5 days a week. A lot of companies are doing giving flexibility. They're now looking at using technology to create reasons for people to come to the office. Why would somebody want to come to the office if I can use a laptop and work at my home or at a cafe? Why would I want to come to the office? So I'm coming to the office for a particular reason. Now, for example, in our platform, we show who's at the office today, right? The marketing team is at the office, right? If I'm working in a function that has to interface with the marketing team, I'm encouraged to be at the office because I've got the other team is there, right? Correct. So the evolution is happening now. It's not about all the rest of things have become table stakes. Now I'm looking at how my company is evolving, how teams are evolving, the usage of office is now a utility, right? So if it's a machine, then you want that machine to run 24/7 for you to kind of, so now office, that one seat or one meeting room has become more like that, how is it being used, Who's using it? When is it being used? What are the patterns? What are the behaviors? So that's how solutions are kind of, at least that's what the demands are coming to us from our clients. And we are in a way, we are either forced to evolve, or we want to look up the curve and say, hey, this is what the next moving target is going to be, and this is what we want to meet now.
Excellent. When you people kind of work with everybody, you work more with the HR departments, you work more with the IT departments. How does that kind of work? Who's your partner on the other side usually?
So I'll go first. For us, our biggest client is CHROs, right? Because the problem, at least the solution that we offer, the problem that they are trying to solve is employee engagement, collaboration, and wellness, mental wellness and wellness. So it's all people problems that we're trying to solve. So the cost part of it is like secondary. How do we optimize cost is the secondary question, but the people problems
That's
are
the first touch point. That's true for all of you? Yeah, go for it.
For us, it's quite a bit different. Is because we are present in around 60 cities.
Yes.
So for us, the go-to person is the business team. Because the business team decides in which city to be there, in that city, which micro market to be there. Because at the end of the day, the business team runs the P&L. So the HR team definitely supports in terms of hiring, in terms of getting the feet on street and actually getting the people who are going to do the business. But most of the time, the business team has to put their neck on the line and saying that, okay, we are ready to now go to a Jamshedpur, or we are now ready to go to a Ratlam. They are the ones who are actually deciding. They are the ones who are actually even shortlisting properties, to be precise. So a lot of our clients, in fact, even shortlist the property and they tell us that, why don't you go ahead here? This is right in the CBD. And I'm sure with us, you will get even more customers. So for us, yeah, no brainer, it's the business heads.
I would also second that. I think it's the combination of business and admin teams who are still taking that decision. I think there was a trend where the CHROs were making a decision in the past, but I think that's not happening that much now. I think they even had something called a hybrid officer. Some of the companies hired something, but I think good sense has prevailed now. So.
All right, fair enough. Believe it or not, we're in the last 10 minutes. Just going to put it out there. If anybody has a question for any of these excellent gentlemen, somebody's already raised their hand as well. I'm wondering if I shot my mouth too soon. Let's try and get a mic to the gentleman on the table over there before we begin our wrap-up. So I'm going to let him ask the question, and then we'll jump to our wrap-up. All right. Is the mic coming to him by any chance? Yes, it's there. Thank you so much. Do let us know who you are and who you represent. It will help them in their answer.
Sure. Yeah, hello. Thanks for the wonderful insights that we are having through this panel. My name is Jayesh Soda. I'm founder of Smart City Home. And my question would be to Mr. Ali or somebody who can take this up. This is in context with the new kind of system that's getting around with the cobots. So how the cobots in the workspace will be happening and making that change in the working environment. So with context to the technology also, and in terms of the other aspect.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Soda. Very intelligent question and a very pragmatic question. Very practical also. I will start like this. In queue with all the respective promoters over here on the Flexi spaces. There are two parts of your question. How it's going to affect and what technology is going to play a bigger role. As my team said over here, that how many people are coming, how much of air conditioning has been used, how much of parking facility is used, everything adds to a cost to the owner or to the builder or to the company who is...
That's the data science part of it. That's
Sorry?
the data science part of it.
Data, okay. I'll just come to that, yeah. So there's a cost attached to everything. So when you have sensorization done, sensorization that is what is that you sensorize each and every place, from your desk movement to your lighting to your smart cafeterias to your smart toilets, to see to it that the end result is that the employee returns back to the office. He comes to the office with his full flavor, his full enthusiasm. He works round the clock, or depending on his timing, and then he makes a move happily. So the experience, what he comes to the office with, along with the energy, he has to go back with the same energy, because mental stuff and right now hygiene and mental status of a particular employee is all getting counted, and must be possibly a year or two, we will have definitely orientations and people will be booked for harassing mentally or giving more job. the main part over here is that flexi spaces have a very different dynamic approach. Like, it's this SaaS, I can say. It's not software as a service, it is space as a service. So here they are providing space as a service. So the space, the technology can work for like 10 people sitting in a 10 packs room. The air conditioning will be only for 10 packs guys. So you're saving on the energy bills. You're saving on the parking. And people, before they come to the flexi spaces, they're going to book through the mobile app. Technology comes into picture. And everything will be space as a service. So it will all go to the cloud. So the data going to the cloud, to any cloud, basically the flexi spaces are going to target any cloud and take all the data, and they can monitor their equipments which have been at a very high level been put, like your server rooms, like your lifts, your DGs, your chillers, your AHUs, which are all high equipment value assets. You cannot keep changing chillers just like that. It costs 2 crore, 3 crore, depending on the square feet area of your air conditioning space. So what happens, when you put a high equipment value equipment, and then if you don't utilize it to the best core of it, or what we call under the engineering section is the coefficient of operation of, or coefficient of efficiency, you're not utilizing the system. So you're paying to it. And then you have the AMCs running into it. So AMCs are big cost on the flexi space or the developer or the builder. So once you involve technology, sir, what happens? Your direct cost comes down. So you're saving the buck.
My concern was related to the non-human aspect. Now we have been discussing on the employees and people. Now when cobot comes, it is going to be somewhere between coexistence of the machines and the humans. So cobots are going to be like a colleagues of a human being in the workspace environment. Now workspace in context with the co-working. Now how will this technology is going to make that impact on the co-working space and the service level? So that's what I was trying to connect with the non-human co-boats.
So I think you'll have to kind of
No,
take this off.
actually you're right, sir. This is the data era. Data is the new oil. So more the data goes into the cloud, you have analysis. Analytics is nothing but analysis. You're right. So the analytics happen only if you have data. You have historical data. You take the data and then the machine learns, or including the human has to learn by itself. Like, various things happen. So might be the HRs and the other respective team who gets along the onboarding, might be they will be able to take this up. And this can be debatable on a very different platform also. I talked on the perspective of saving energy, sustainability, what you talk about. Sustainability is a big chapter in all the buildings nowadays. So all that has to be under one particular umbrella to take it forward ahead.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you for the question. Thank you so much. We literally are on now -4 minutes almost. And I do want to get all of you to quickly comment on the way forward. Like we have talked about innovation so far, how technology needs to and is changing. But what are some of the future disruptions? And I want all of you to just quickly take like a moment and tell us any future trend and disruption that you are gearing up for that you think will impact the business. Should the biggest revenue maker take the question first, which is you, Kushal?
Okay, thanks for the question anyways. I think one of the biggest, I would not say disruption, but what is happening is there's a change in requirement. So earlier what used to happen is corporates used to look at larger format of a 10,000 square feet or a 1,000-seater office. What has happened now is people are looking for smaller offices. They're looking at a hub and spoke model. They're looking at where you can go even more closer to the customer, go closer to the employee's house. So people are looking at decentralizing. So how you have in e-commerce, how they say, the dark warehouses, it's going similarly in the co-working stroke flex space where people are actually looking for smaller offices. Even within a larger space, customers are looking for customization. So people are more than happy to work out of a flex space, but again they say that, can we have this A change? Can we have a B change? Can we customize it for a requirement? Because people at the end of the day want it, people are looking at flex space as their own office. So when it's their own office, they're looking at being, very close to their own business type. So a media house look and feel of an office will be a bit different from a manufacturing, and will be a bit different maybe from, maybe an architect office. So people even within the co-working space are looking at customization. And I would say at least from a governance perspective also, I would say if we are looking at even ESG norms, which are environmental, social and governance norms. So right now, only the top 1,000 listed companies in India are actually following that. That's kind of mandated. But once we get into adoption of these processes, of actually seeing of what are the toxins which are, which are produced by the product, where actually the product sourcing is coming. Because if you go into higher governance, that can also impact your flex space requirement. So I would limit it to typically these couple of points.
Excellent. Mukul, I'm hoping you can take on next. You're all set.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think three things. Primarily, I see as the next biggest disruptions are going to happen is, number one is India is a huge country, right? And we are predominantly are there in tier 1 cities where, we talk about urban offices and everything, right? I think it's very important to realize that tier 2 and tier 3 are key geographies where even the government is definitely going to be supporting and pushing more from the perspective of rural development, smart cities and everything. And from a population standpoint and development of tier 2, tier 3 cities also, it's very important that people actually work out of these locations. So flex and managed office spaces in tier 2, tier 3 cities is definitely going to be the next big thing. So that is one area where the disruption will happen for sure. Second is we talk about IoT, AI, prompt engineering and smart offices. This is definitely going to disrupt a lot of things, the way people work, not just in tier 1 cities, but also across all this rural cities as well, right? Right from automation of self-check-ins, attendance management, employee engagement, workspace management solutions, right? Because they can enable and empower any office space across any location, right? So these solutions will be disrupting a lot, and that's what we are doing at Stylework as well, right? And we are spread across more than 90 cities at this point of time. So how is it happening? We are definitely using technology to do that, and we are building on technology and really improvising on what more can we do. So that is the second thing. Third thing, like I was in the beginning saying, right? Work-life balance is very important and very difficult for technology to do it, and it's a state of mind, right? How about we use technology for owners of companies to ensure that their employees go through great work-life balance? If technology can ensure that this happens, just imagine what kind of a country we will be, where every single company as a culture itself offers work-life balance, right? So these three things, I think technology will be using to disrupt the flex space and the managed office spaces.
Thank you so much. Shyam, you're next. That red color is
Yeah, I
in
know.
my
I saw that red come up, right?
Yeah.
So I think I wouldn't say disruption. It's an evolving space. So it's an evolution. So one fundamental thing that flex space, co-working space is, should be doing. I hope they do it very quickly. Is like everybody's data is in the walled China walls, right? So I mean availability data, whether the meeting room is available, a desk is available. It's not there. And in a lot of cases, it's in spreadsheets. It's not even in a form to retrieve and all that. So I feel like APIs to expose inventory is one thing that flex industry kind of should work on. I mean, I'm hoping they work on. As an aggregator, it'll make my life a lot more easier. So that is something that we've been behind the hotel industry, behind airline industry, hospitality in general. So that is one, exposing the availability data and all that. Number two is that from workspace management, I feel that the trend will go towards work enablement, right? So for example, like this team, you've not done an in-person meeting in the last 2 months. So the manager should be recommended to have an in-person meeting with their teams. Or you've not had a one-on-one with somebody who's just joined you newly on onboarding, right? We would recommend you do that. So kind of from just enabling us, just managing that, enabling a company to kind of work and enabling teams to come together, inter-team to work. I think that's where I think the technology, at least in this realm of work that we do, I feel that the next wave of technology would be to kind of enable work rather than just manage a workplace.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Shyam. Ali, you've got like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think so. Adaptability is the major thing over here. Humans and technology have to adapt together. And the next scenario is the change is constant. So you cannot think that this is the final thing. So change keeps evolving and you have to change along with it or you'll be left across, as you have heard my colleague saying, BlackBerry and Nokia fading away. So change is the constant. This is what I can say right now. And we can look forward for predictive stuff and AI mushrooming to a bigger extent. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Utkarsh, you're not the last because of your clothes, you know that, right?
No, yeah, so I think they've covered the positives. I'll cover the things that worry me. I think what worries me is that US, the commercial market has not yet picked up. I think that's a big thing. India is an anomaly here, where in India the flex market is booming, but in US it has not picked up. I think the second biggest thing that I'm hoping metaverse is an enabler and not a disruptor for us. But when the prices for our Oculus become so damn cheap, will that remove the need for a real office? So I think those are things that worry me.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's still, you know, off in the distance. But just everybody, thank you for do applaud. Yes, I think I lost it. Yeah, thank you so much for everybody's patience, for my mic as well. And just a round of applause for my wonderful panelists. Thank you. Thank you, you're all amazing.
Check. Yes, let's get everyone in the frame. Ladies and gentlemen, a big, big round of applause. We did get to see and hear a great conversation, and I think if you enjoyed it, let's give them a bigger round of applause for this. Well, as our panelists are on stage, we'd now like to acknowledge each and every one. Thank you so much for being with us on the stage and sharing your wisdom.